Hey guys, Lordy1701 and welcome back to the channel. This is episode 7 of the 1701 podcast. It's been a while since I've actually done a podcast. I'm not going to lie, it's been a very long time since I've actually done one of these, but I've been thinking obviously about WWE lately, and obviously I've watched the recent pay-per-view as well, day one, and it got me thinking about WWE a little bit. So obviously I'm going to talk about WWE today, because why not? I think it's the best time to do it, and obviously there's been a lot of obviously news and stuff obviously around it and stuff, and also it won't just be on what my main title of today's video actually is, which is obviously going to be why Vince is, in my opinion, ruining WWE, which personally it's true. I don't think anyone else will obviously say I'm wrong, but you can obviously disagree. But yeah, obviously I'm going to go over a couple of things and obviously explain my reasons and my opinions and stuff like that. So obviously just stay tuned and obviously listen to obviously what I've got to say. If you obviously enjoy WWE and obviously wrestling in general, you might actually find it interesting. If you don't, then obviously feel free to go off the video. You'll have to watch my video, but obviously if you do stay around, I do appreciate it. Also, if you want to see a guest on the next podcast video, I am welcome and happy to have someone on my video. Obviously, I do have people usually, but obviously today I couldn't really have anyone. So this is a last minute planned video, but I've obviously planned out though. But yeah, if you have any suggestions who I could actually get on the podcast, let me know down below who you want to see on the podcast, because I would be down to have obviously see anyone on this podcast at some point. I've had some people before, Eddie and also Matt as well, and Liam. So yeah, I won't mind some obviously more people. If you obviously want to be on the podcast yourself, just let me know. We can maybe arrange something. So yeah, obviously I'm going to talk about obviously. I think we'll start with the releases of obviously WWE, in my opinion, first of all. Now obviously the releases aren't too great. Obviously I'm still I'm still now annoyed obviously that WWE decided to go and release Karrion Kross, which I've said it for the last couple months now, since obviously it got released, and obviously Scarlett Bordeaux. Not because obviously Scarlett Bordeaux, but just because them two superstars to me were the only reasons why I was still kind of interested in WWE a little bit. It doesn't necessarily mean I wasn't obviously paying attention to other people in the company. I used to love it obviously as a kid, and obviously I still loved it up to this day, and I still do now, but obviously WWE isn't the same as it used to be. I think everyone can obviously agree on it, and just see how it's changed. I mean, obviously all the companies in general do change, in any sports entertainment, I assume. They all evolve and all different things, and that just change, and it's a bit sad, because obviously when you're a kid and obviously you watch these type of things, you get really into it, and obviously when you get a bit older you still are, but you're not as interested as you used to be. I still have such a passion for wrestling, and I always will do. I just love it. But I just wish things were a bit better, and I think it's kind of sad to me that obviously the way wrestlers these days get treated, they get treated I don't know, they just don't get treated the way they should do. I think it's obviously, as I'm going to go through in a second, the releases. It's lately there's been releases that have happened very very. Oh, I think it was start of last week. Obviously the recent release that's happened, which has been on our doorstep, was obviously the Tony Storm incident, which obviously I don't know much on. Really, I can't really give you guys much information on what's actually happened. I know that obviously Tony Storm went obviously doing a live event, I think, not sure where, but obviously there was a WWE live event, and she went to Charlotte Flair, and I think it might have been Becky Lynch, I'm not sure, but anyway, it was a triple threat match, and obviously Tony Storm just went home. She just asked, she asked for a release, and obviously got released as well. I think it was either the exact same day or obviously a day after, but still, she didn't obviously she didn't tell anyone, she just went straight home, and I was like, that's crazy, because Tony Storm to me had a lot of potential, and she was quite also active as well on the main roster. She was in a bit of a feud with obviously Charlotte Flair, and I didn't really watch it too much, but obviously I saw little bits and bats on Twitter and all on Instagram and stuff, because obviously I just see it, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And obviously when she got released, I was like, that's kind of crazy. But yeah, if I had to rank I'd say top 5 releases of obviously wrestling in WWE this year, obviously going into the new year now, but obviously reflecting back to last year's releases, I'll start at number 5. I think I went up to number 1. Personally, I would probably rank. It's difficult because obviously I'm going to put Bray Wyatt in anyway, because obviously he was a massive star on the actual show, in that company especially. But I'm going to put Keith Lee at number 5. Reason being, obviously, we all know Keith Lee had a great career, in my opinion, at NXT. He was great. Pardon me, everybody throat's going. Obviously, he was great. You know, had a great career. Ended up obviously winning like the NXT Championship, and obviously his North American Championship as well, which was great. You know, he was a good superstar. Obviously, on the main roster though, like, all these NXT people that get brought up, they get like completely changed. Like the characters just completely transition into like a really, really, I don't know. I don't want to say bad character, because they can still get over and like still, I assume, interest the crowd a little bit, but the way like Keith Lee's character came across, and like obviously Karrion Kross and etc., they just don't get us fans hyped as we did when we first saw him, and obviously that's what obviously got us on to, like, you know, to liking them superstars. You know, I was quite sad when I saw Keith Lee get released, because I think he had quite a lot of potential to obviously still give to the company, and just I ended up seeing, like, I know obviously he fought like Karrion Kross, and he fought like all these big superstars on the main roster, like I think he fought Roman Reigns as well and stuff like that, but it was just quite sad to see him go. And obviously I don't think he'll come back, in my opinion. I don't see Keith Lee coming back, unfortunately, despite he was a really, obviously a massive deal in the company at some point. I know like some people I speak to on wrestling liked him, and obviously they were the same as me. They were quite sad to see him go. It's just, I don't know what it is with people like that, but WWE just seem to just waste too much talent. No, they do. Like, they have such a great structure with obviously superstars they have, and then they just ruin them all, and they just don't have any plans. And it's like they just lose track of thought of what to do with people. It's like the creative behind each character just doesn't seem to fit what they want compared to what the character in general like delivered before in the first time, which got them obviously where they are now. It's sad. I'd say number 4 for the releases, I'm going to say, I wouldn't say Nia Jax, because I think she was going to go at some point, because she, not because I don't like her, but she was clumsy in the ring, and obviously all in like, I didn't really like Nia Jax that much, in my opinion. But I'd say John Morrison was another one that I was a bit shocked that he went. And obviously he's been gone before, but I feel bad for the guy though, because John Morrison, I used to watch when I was younger, and he was a really good superstar, and I was hoping like one day he would actually become WWE champion, because he has the potential to be there. He does. He has the absolute potential to be in the top like tier of wrestling, in my opinion, because at the end of the day, like, no matter what people say, John Morrison was an extremely good athlete at what he does, especially obviously with his parkour skills and like all that lot. He was a really good superstar. I think like, obviously we all know he's won like tag team belts, so obviously like, you know, he's tag team partner like the Miz and stuff like that in the past, and obviously maybe had an IC title run and also an ECW run as well, just for people obviously that know him a little bit better. Obviously when he first came into the wrestling business in WWE, say for he was a really big superstar when he came back, and I was happy that he came back as well at some point, because he was a really good superstar. And when I was obviously growing up as a kid, this was like when I was like age 7, 8, whatever, he was like one of the first people that obviously got me into the company, and then seeing him go again was just breathtaking, because like I just wish when they ended up breaking him and the Miz apart from each other, they would have like a feud, and they completely didn't. Like, they just didn't have a feud going on at all when obviously the Miz attacked John Morrison. I was like, why have they just done that? And then like, I think obviously a couple weeks after or whatever it was, they released him. I was like, that is ridiculous. Like, that could have been such a good feud for money, for the business. End of the day, it was, because not only the Miz is good, but obviously as a chemistry build between them two. They literally know each other so well, so obviously they could be great in the ring together, Miz and Morrison, which I was a bit surprised to see obviously that they released him in the end, which I was like, wow, that is so shit. Number 3, I'm going to say Jeff Hardy has to be in this list of people that I wasn't to expect. Well, I won't say expected, but I was more naffed the fact that he went. I know it didn't help, obviously, relating around the whole like rehab / drug issue he had, I think, going on like the whole reason what obviously basically the main story behind it. On December 9th when they released him, which was quite sad. Obviously, if you guys don't know the story, what happened, he basically did another a live event, and I think, I'm not sure if he went off mid-match or just decided to leave mid-match. I think maybe the doctors might have just come to him and obviously just checked him out. But apparently he weren't well that day apparently, and obviously he flew home, which I think, to be fair, for his own health is good, but also for the fact that he weren't well and obviously still wrestled the same day, and that didn't help as well. But it's like Matt though, because Matt loves Jeff Hardy and I love Jeff Hardy. He's a great superstar. He's been obviously on some good runs, and I also think as well they had some big plans as well, spewing for Jeff Hardy as well before obviously his release, and obviously that's just not going to happen now because he's gone. And I would say probably I do see him going to AEW at some point as well, just to let you guys know. I think he will go to AEW and obviously maybe regroup with Matt Hardy. We'll see. But yeah, another big superstar obviously just went, and I was a bit naffed about it, to be fair. It was just something about Jeff was just so good to watch him, and it was just not because he was obviously an extremist and obviously all that in the ring, but as a character, he's a good role model to think to young people as well. They just love wrestling. He's a great model, and honestly, absolutely great superstar. And the fact that he's gone is a bit sad. So obviously, all the best for him as well. Number 2, I'm gonna probably say Alistair Black. Now, obviously, he's in AEW now, or whatever you want to say. He's obviously now under the name of Malachi Black, if I'm correct. And I don't watch much AEW, but I know my bits and bats. Alistair Black, for another good superstar. Had quite a lot to give, but obviously didn't really show him much when he came to the main roster. Again, that's what I said before to you all. I keep going back to the fact that obviously these just, for some reason, kept ruining the AEW, kept ruining the NXT guys on the main roster when they get called up. I don't get why though. I don't know who's what's the word? I don't get whose idea it is, or whose thought process it is to have a good character come up to the main roster after obviously being in the NXT brand, who's got over really well, and they don't carry that on. I know obviously you can still change character bits and bats, but when they change it completely, it just messes them up completely, and it's why? Just sets them up in a little bit of a bad situation to fail, really. I don't know if that's the whole point behind it, whether they want to make those characters or whatever fail in the main roster, but it shouldn't be done that way, in my opinion. They need to just keep, in my opinion, they should keep building them, which that's what should happen, but they don't, and it's a bit annoying. But yeah, Alistair Black though, I was quite sad to see him go, because I was a big fan of him when he got on these, obviously from his NXT days to main roster days. He had some good stuff in main roster, but nothing compared to his NXT though, obviously, as I mentioned. Just a bit unfortunate, obviously, the way things happened, and obviously that went. Another one, obviously, Andrade, but I won't really count him in the list. He was another big one that was a bit great, cool, he's gone. Also, the Undisputed Era, they didn't get released, obviously. I think they let all the contracts, run out. Obviously, Adam Cole was probably the main culprit I used to like a lot out of the Undisputed Era. That's obviously disbanded now. I think the only lasting member now, though, if I can remember fully, is Roderick Strong, and he's in NXT still as the, I want to say Cruiserweight Champion, but I could be wrong. If I'm right, let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, he's the only person in NXT though now, or in WWE should say now, that's still there. Whilst the other three have gone, which is Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, and obviously Bobby Fish. But Adam Cole was a good superstar, and I really, really wish he had a better push on the main roster. But obviously, he didn't get to the main roster pretty much, did he? Really, he got let go. But obviously, his contract went out. But he was good. Honestly, the Undisputed Era was so special though in the NXT altogether. They were absolutely ridiculously good faction, which obviously Triple H built up, which was ridiculous. It's since NXT 2.0 came in, I have not watched a single bit of it because it's absolute garbage in my opinion. I don't know who changed it. I don't know if it was Vince's ideas changed it. I don't know if it was whether someone else in that little group they got, but it was horrific. I don't know what they've done to brand. You just took every single element away that Triple H built in that element to make it such a good working show. It's okay, don't get me wrong, it's okay. I'm not going to slate it that much, but the way that it looks now compared to what it did, it just doesn't look like a proper brand now. It looks like a fucking absolute cowboy show. It looks ridiculous. It's like a bloody clown show in my opinion. Or circus show. There we go. Circus show. But yeah, it's just it's so annoying because like it just the potential just gets took away from that show, and it's like great. Now it's back to fucking shit again. But hey ho. And obviously number one I want to mention is, as I keep saying it continuously over and over and over again to people when I talk about wrestling, Karrion Kross and Scalabordo. There is no debate on that. I know people didn't like him, but I know majority of people did like him as well though. But I know like it was like maybe like a couple of people like, oh, he can't wrestle or whatever, but he can. Literally, Karrion Kross, in my opinion, I said before, he is the only reason why I ended up watching NXT when he was there. And also Scarlett, can't forget Scarlett. Not because of the entrance, because how good that were anyway, but just the way they had so much freedom when they came to ideas, and obviously the creativity behind them two characters together. They were such a masterpiece in that business, at the same time as obviously just making the show entertaining. Like when I was watching WWE, I would just watch like maybe like one, maybe two of the matches on the main card for like for Raw or like SmackDown. But when I heard these two names though pop up in obviously the NXT brand, I was like, oh damn, because I already knew him before though. That's why I already knew the work from obviously the independent scene. I was like, that's crazy that they're obviously going to be now. That's really cool. I'm happy to actually see him, and I'm happy for him. And then obviously Kross got obviously an injury after his first NXT title reign. I think it was like with his shoulder. I think he might have dislocated his shoulder, if I'm correct. Obviously that set him back a bit, and then he came back and obviously won it again against I want to say Keith Lee, but I think that's his first time he won it. I think because obviously I'm pretty sure the match with Keith Lee at TakeOver happened obviously when he popped his elbow or his collarbone or whatever it was. I think it was his shoulder, one of the two. And if I could say far, I'm trying to think. I think his second title reign when he won it was I want to say against Finn or Adam Cole. I could be wrong, but it might have been Finn Balor, I think. But yeah, that's obviously what happened. And just I don't know. I said to Scarlett though, when I spoke to Scarlett Bordeaux on this meet and greet thing a bit ago in December, I said to her, obviously, I feel for you two, the fact that obviously you haven't had the chance to pursue in the main roster as you should have. Obviously, Scarlett was rumoured to obviously have matches anyway. That's why Scarlett and Kross got like separated from each other on the shows, because she went to obviously go and wrestle. That's why. Whilst Kross was obviously going solo, which to be fair, in my opinion, not because I didn't want Scarlett to wrestle, but I thought from a creative point that was a bad idea. And also we all know Kross's main roster like change was awful. I don't know why they decided to change his whole character to like that I want to say like warrior looking dude, but it didn't look right. I hated the mask. I hated the way they just stripped that character to pieces and just made it look like it just wasn't going to succeed. It looked horrible. I didn't like it one bit. It just didn't seem right to change him, in my opinion. They got rid of obviously a big element, which was obviously the entrance, which looked horrible. It didn't have its spark anymore when obviously Kross came to the main roster. Obviously his wrestling elements was still there, where he could still wrestle, but obviously the presentation of the actual character and the actual whole thing just didn't match. And I think that's probably down to Vince. That's why I said before, this is what I'm going to talk about today. The reason why I think Vince is ruining in the company, as much as he probably wants to sell the company anyway at some point, if anything happened to the company now and there was someone to take over the company, I would probably put Triple H, I think, as the leader that should take the company on, in my opinion. Reason being is because not only has he had experience before, obviously helping a brand get good and making an actual brand interesting, but he can also he knows a lot though. Triple H, he knows how to build superstars, which obviously he's done in the past. Kross, Scarlett, Keith Lee, Cole, all them lot, he's made them into actual good characters, whether it's interesting storylines and like interesting feuds and good chemistry with obviously other superstars. He made that happen. Iconic entrances, he's made all that happen before in the NXT brand. So why can't he do it obviously in the main roster? SmackDown, maybe. Raw, maybe. So I think he should do that. If that was my choice, I would put Triple H in charge if he could. I just don't think Vince should touch it anymore, in my opinion. I just don't. I just say before when I went on Twitter and I saw the fact that Karrion Kross got released, I was absolutely steaming about it. I was like, "Are you actually kidding me?" Because they're not just superstars you get every single day. Them two characters, Scout and Cross, they to me stood out. They stood out. They had money. They were literally money together. And obviously, just WWE just didn't see it. I don't know how. But, you know, just watch his work in the independent scene, watch his work on NXT, that is what you call building a character. And for some reason, Vince, I don't know what it was, he just saw something in Cross and went, nah, I don't think he should have a completely whole different character and a whole different change. And I was like, I don't want to say anything. But I was so upset. I was like, oh no, this is going to go horribly wrong. And I was correct. And also Cross mentioned that in his actual recent podcast as well, in the Renee Young podcast actually, sorry, which happened I think on like the 29th of December, but I could be wrong. But yeah, around there anyway, on the recent podcast, obviously he mentions that apparently Cross mentions that within the last 4 months of his career at WWE, or like the time period I should say, sorry, he could see it happening, like where like he was scared that obviously something wasn't right, and obviously the character was not getting over, and obviously as you all saw, it wasn't, and obviously that's what led to his release, I think. But it's just annoying. It is really, really annoying, because I was absolutely gutted when I saw that. I was like, I can't get over that now. And I'm still not to this day still, so yeah, thank you very much, Vince, you cunt. No, I'm joking. It's just, say for things don't work out sometimes, unfortunately. You just got to accept it, unfortunately, and just let it be. But I think, in my opinion, they will regret it, hopefully, though. For letting Cross go, and also Scarlett, and also the other ones as well, that obviously gone in the past as well. They will do. Because not just that, but they had so much to offer, and they just, for some reason, just clam them down. And they just don't let them have the freedom to actually, like, I don't know, develop the characters into better characters, you know what I mean? They have like an idea, and they just make it look like a really shit idea. I'm like, why? But I don't know, who knows? So yeah, they're like my releases that I would actually talk on. And then I'm going to talk, obviously, in general about storylines. Now, storylines, especially now, aren't as good as I think they were back in like the old days. Like, not saying like too long ago. Like, I'd say the 20th century roughly. I used to love like seeing all the big ones, like, you know, like Triple H and Shawn Michaels feud, other stuff like best friend feuds, whatever, and like injury feuds are quite cool to like go look at. And now, obviously, there's not many now, like good builds to. Not, I won't say just WWE, but in general, they just don't have the creativity, I don't think, behind them, what they were when they first started doing these companies and stuff like that. But I don't know, it's difficult to try and judge. But I tell you what was a really good feud that I used to love to watch was the WrestleMania 20, I want to say 25, but I think it's 6, WrestleMania 26, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, the Street versus Career match. Oh my god, that feud today is still probably one of the best. Not because obviously the match before, like the year before that, but something about that storyline and all that stuff in general does match so well. Once you get into a storyline as a wrestling fan, you get hooked onto that superstar, or superstars in general. You get hooked onto it straight away because of the hype over that match. And obviously the hype towards the build of the match, it's really good. You know, it's something about, I don't think character, but just putting two superstars that you think can work well together actually get to, you know, have a really nice build to a match. You know, I recently watched, obviously I mentioned to you, didn't I, that I watched the day one pay-per-view, and I wouldn't say there was much storyline like going on there, like stories going on together. I think the only one that I kind of like recognised or were interested in really watching was the Edge versus The Miz, where obviously Edge like has to basically just fucking shut The Miz up, whilst obviously The Miz is just getting in his head a little bit, and obviously this led to obviously Beth Phoenix as well returning back to the company, which is pretty cool. That's a good thing. Seeing Beth Phoenix come back to the company is a nice little thing to see. But you know, if I was working at WWE and I was obviously in the creative team, I just wish that they would have a perspective rather than a bad idea of what they actually want to do, because it seems I personally think they don't have any ideas properly, and that's why they just like make some really boring, stretched out storylines that just don't seem to work for characters. It doesn't make you want to watch the match. It might have to be fair, it could have some big superstars in the match still, like it could have like, I don't know, Brock versus Roman Reigns, and it could still be a boring storyline if they don't do it right. And obviously at the right time as well, don't forget. Timing's really, I would say timing's really key, obviously, story building. Like, if you like getting like two big superstars, like as I mentioned, Brock or Roman Reigns together, you'd expect to probably build it around the big pay-per-views like SummerSlam or Royal Rumble or WrestleMania is a good example. That could be a really good one to do, where you think money will draw in. I think that's obviously that's the whole idea of getting a good storyline to be. But obviously, it's all about timing, though. I think, in my opinion, for that one, which I just don't think they have anymore. They just seem to just throw it in and be like, that will work, that will work. And also gimmicks as well. I hate the fact that there's some gimmicks in WWE that are still around, and they just don't. They make you more annoyed, I think, I would say. Like, it's like that bloody Happy Corbin on WWE. I hate that. Honestly, I hate the gimmick. That bloody Moss dude and him, I can't stand them both. It's like watching two bloody it's like watching Dumb and Dumber. Just two clowns. Just to mention it's a good film, that, but still, I don't care. That gimmick for Corbin's awful. I would prefer his bloody Lone Wolf character. It's so much better, but the one that he's got now is awful. I hate it. And I don't get how they still make, like, how they get so much TV time as well, because it's just a bad character. It just makes you more annoyed watching the company. I'm like, oh my god, get it off, I can't, turn it off. But yeah, the gimmicks on wrestling, like, there's some strange ones. There's some strange ones, especially. It's it's a bit bad, I think, to say in the chat, I think. I would say it's a bit bad to really talk on, really, but, you know, it is what it is. Also, I'm going to talk on the upcoming new game as well, coming out in March, which is obviously WWE 2K22. Now, I don't know much on it, but I'm hoping that this game will blow my mind, because they've had 2 years to make this game, nearly, and I'm hoping it lives up to its potential, because it has a lot of potential, this game now this year. But the only things I'm concerned on obviously the roster, due to obviously, well, God knows how many releases in the company. There's been a lot of releases in the company, so obviously that will be a big issue for the new game. But I think it has been confirmed, if I'm correct, that there will still be most of the released superstars in, because obviously they were at the company during the time the game was first being made. So hopefully we'll still get like the likes of like Karrion Kross and Bray Wyatt. I think Bray Wyatt's actually in the game anyway, because obviously it has been confirmed before on obviously news sources and stuff like that, and also Jeff Hardy I think might be as well. So obviously that wasn't a long release, obviously, quite a recent release. But yeah, to be fair, I'm looking forward to the return of the general manager mode, or GM mode, sorry. That's what I'm looking forward to, really. That'd be a really cool thing to do. If I decide to do that though, I'm thinking I might possibly bin off the universe mode and just do a load of GM mode, I think, if that's what I'm going to do. Because I love GM mode. I used to play obviously back in the old days on PSP and PS3, where I'd play like SmackDown vs Raw and like just have like a bit of a spree between them two, and just do I think the best part of that though is the draft. The draft is the best part. I think that's what got people to love that game mode though. I think it was one of the, maybe the best game mode I think in any wrestling game personally. That's what I've played. That's the best one I've enjoyed. And maybe Defeat the Streak as well. That's quite a goated game mode on obviously the 2K games in general from 2K14 maybe, but yeah, still. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the new WWE game coming out in March. So I'm just hoping it's good though. I've seen gameplay a little bit, it looks quite good. And also the graphics look pretty nice as well, but obviously I can't like judge it based off graphics, so I have to have fluorescent gameplay, that's the word. Is that just like fluorescent gameplay, I think I want to call it. So it's like smooth gameplay basically, but you know, I think people have played obviously wrestling games in the past, like especially 2K20. Oh my god, there was so many bloody bugs. Like even now when I still do my videos for it, I still get so many errors because of like custom creations or just in general bugs. It's just like, oh my god, this game is just not even complete and it's been out. Like, how do you release a game that's not complete? And they don't even update the game either to get rid of the bugs, they just leave it. I'm like, oh my god, it's even worse. It's even worse. It's like crying. But yeah, I'm just hoping it's looking good, and I'm hoping it is good when it comes out, because I want to get it straight away anyway. But I will be doing a stream on that, hopefully that game at some point. I will do streams or videos, one of the two, we'll see. And finally, I'm going to link back to obviously the whole like who should lead WWE conversation for the end of the video. So obviously I mentioned at the start, like roughly at the start-ish, about Vince, and obviously what he would probably most likely do in the future, whether obviously he will eventually, well, I think he should step away from the company now and let someone else control it, and obviously let them run the actual show, because he, to me, just seems to ruin characters really easily. I don't know why. What goes through his head, I don't get what goes through his vision. He just ruins the characters. I'm like, for God's sake, why? But at the end of the day, though, I've got to give Vince a lot of credit, because obviously if it weren't for Vince McMahon now, though, WWE wouldn't be a thing. Personally, it wouldn't. So I've got to give Vince the hats off to that one, because it's true. There's no way around it. He's obviously ran a company for a long time, had some good moments, had some bad moments, and obviously, like, I just think it's the right time for him to probably go now and just let it be, because I feel at some point that not superstars won't want to come to the company because it's a bad company. It's not a bad company. It's just run. I would say it's just ran poorly because they don't treat wrestlers properly, because they just ruin them. Not all of them. That's not me being biased. They don't ruin all of them, but they just don't treat them as they should do. Like, they don't give him enough pushes, they don't give him this and that. Like, I feel bad for like people like Sami Zayn and like Cesaro especially. He could be a really good superstar in that company, and he still is, but obviously I can't like what's the word, enhance how much potential he can actually bring to that company. He's an unbelievable athlete. Go watch his matches, he's unbelievable, Cesaro. Ricochet's another good superstar that I think could be up there. Maybe Dominic Mysterio. He's alright. I don't mind him. You know, there's a lot of underrated superstars there, and it's just like they don't get enough pushes to deserve it. Also, Kevin Owens. Oh my god. How can I forget Kevin Owens? Oh my god. If he is not champion before the end of this year, I will riot. I will literally riot. He's good, and he doesn't get enough bloody flipping chances to go and be good. Apart from just bloody losing all the time, like, for God's sake. But still, that is that's what it is. But yeah, as I mentioned though, if obviously Vince did sell the company though, or if Vince was like giving someone else in the wrestling business now in that company a chance to run that company, I would probably say Triple H should do it. He should do that. Maybe Stephanie, possibly. I wouldn't say Shane could run the company, but I would definitely say Triple H could, because he's had experience before and he's made a brand good and compete, especially on obviously the ratings. I know obviously AEW I think battered him at the same time, but he from what I watched and from what I saw, I used to love watching NXT. I actually used to love it, and now I don't, because obviously for reasons. But I wouldn't just watch obviously the cross matches. I would watch all the matches on that show, even Diva ones. I don't particularly like watching like Diva matches because I kind of find them a bit boring. But I would still watch them because they were quite obviously interested in bits of them. I would watch it still. But I used to just love the storylines of the actual superstars. Like, there were some really, really cool like feuds and just hype towards matches, and also the pay-per-views were always really good as well in NXT. They always were, always performed. Like, especially like with like Johnny Gargano and like Tommaso Ciampa and all them lot. They were like some really, really standout performers in that company, and that's because of Triple H. He booked it right. He thought it out right, and obviously he planned it all right. So I can't really say he doesn't deserve a chance in the future to be the leader of the company. He should be. I know, like, obviously Steph and like Shane obviously would most likely fit in that category, because so they're like under Vince's name basically, but still Triple H is still part of that little family tree thing still, because obviously he's with Stephanie McMahon, so you know. But a bit difficult to really obviously judge and just talk about really, because it's just, I don't know what it is WWE. I just don't see it the same as it used to be. I also want to know as well, chat, what do you guys think as well down below in the comments of WWE now? Do you like the company? Do you not like the company? Are you okay with the company, or you just not care in general? I want to know, because I want to see obviously what you guys think of it. I would have a bit of a mixed emotion over it. I don't really mind it, but I don't particularly love it as I used to, as I mentioned. You know, because I used to like watch like every single pay-per-view when it obviously happened, like from like the hours of like 1 a.m. in the morning to like 4:30 in the morning on like work nights or school nights. I used to do it all the time because I used to still love it and watch it, and now I don't watch it as much as I used to anymore because of it. It's just, it's sad. It is. It's really, really sad to see a company like that. Just the whole like budget cut talk bullshit nonsense thing. I don't believe it, because I don't. You know, it doesn't seem right, because at the end of the day, you think like WWE makes so much money a year, and they say that they need budget cuts because they're superstars. Okay. But still, I wouldn't really say it's much. But at the end of the day, they obviously they had a chance obviously when they first came, and obviously WWE I just think they ran out of, I wouldn't say ran out of ideas, but they just didn't want to give them superstars any more pushes or whatever in that company. That's why they released them. But I could be wrong. I could completely be wrong. But we'll see. But yeah, anyway, little chat, I obviously enjoyed today's video. If you have obviously enjoyed today's little podcast video, go and leave a like down below, and also subscribe if you guys want to see some more podcasts in the future. And also, if you do want to see some more podcasts as well, what do you want me to talk about as of next? And also make sure to mention a guest as well. Don't forget, mention a guest. But yeah, I will say I'll be back on Thursday with a stream. Do not know what I'll be streaming yet, though. Hopefully it'll be entertaining, as it always is. I do try. And yeah, we'll see you then, boys. Take care as always, and peace.